we are well into Georgia's 2023 property tax appeal season. Almost every county in Georgia has released or will soon release their annual assessment notices. These annual assessment notices are referred to as the Georgia Form PT-306. The first thing you need to know is if you have not yet received your assessment notice yet, you need to get your copy before you can start the tax appeal process. If you are unsure whether your county has mailed out your annual assessment notices, call your county's tax assessor's office. Now, there are 159 counties in Georgia. Every Georgia property owner needs to know when they should expect to receive their assessment notice. Having done 200 tax appeals in the last 13 years for myself, friends, clients, and business associates across 6 Georgia counties, I can tell you that every county has their own way of doing things. You should find out when they sent out or will send out the assessment notices. You should know that some counties in Georgia, like Fulton and Douglas County, send out their notices towards late June compared to nearby Gwinnett County, which released their assessment notices this past April. You want to make sure your tax assessor office has your correct mailing address for every parcel and property you own. You should know that it is entirely possible to have one parcel to have a correct mailing address and another parcel you own have an incorrect mailing address. I've seen it happen. If you have properties located in different counties, you need to call each county's tax assessor office separately. Each county has their own schedule and customs they follow. You're going to need your annual assessment notice so you can fill out and file your property tax appeal form correctly. After you get your assessment notice, you need to visit your county's website and download a copy of your county's current year appeal form. If you can't download your county's appeal form online for whatever reason, you may have to visit the tax assessor's office personally to get a few paper copies. Or you can download Georgia's standard appeal form found on the Georgia Department of Revenue website. In theory, the standard PT-311-A appeal form can be used in any county in Georgia. However, in practice, several Georgia counties provide customized property tax appeal forms for their county. I always recommend using the customized forms for your county if they are available. Most of the customized appeal forms are very similar in appearance to the standard PT-311-A form, but a couple of oddball counties, such as DeKalb County, deviate quite a bit from the standard appeal form, so you want to be aware of this. In this video, I will be covering the basics of how to quickly fill out the standard appeal form. The goal of this video is not to teach you the entire Georgia tax appeal process. That is beyond the scope of this video. The goal of this video is to make sure you do enough to preserve your appeal rights for a value reduction and get your 3-year tax freeze later on in the appeal process. So this is a very important first step. In order to set you up for success, you must at least fill out and sign this one-page barebone appeal form and get it in on time. A quick side note, my cat Jaggy wants you to know that last month I published my newest book, Tax Freeze: How to File and Win Property Tax Appeals in Georgia. My book will give you a comprehensive view of the entire Georgia tax appeal process. It explains every step and what you need to know and how to prepare as you progress through the entire tax appeal process. I will have a link in the description below. And because I have very assertive cats, my other cat, Lexi, wants you to swipe that like button to help YouTube spread this video to help other Georgia property owners. The intended audience for this video is for owners of single-family homes and rental property owners in Georgia. As a side note, I know a few Georgia counties allow for electronic filing of tax appeals. They are available only in specific counties in Georgia. If you file electronically, you will have to adapt and improvise the information from this video. Filling out the basic appeal form is very simple in Georgia. If you have your information together, it should only take 10 to 15 minutes at most. Oh my God! The first thing you should fill out on the appeal form is the top portion of the form. It is the contact information section. It is pretty straightforward. You want to print clearly your full name, preferred mailing address, preferred phone numbers, and active email address. This information is actually used by the tax assessor's office and the Board of Equalization. Don't put down a phone number you don't check. Don't use an email address that you don't check. During the progression of the appeal process, which will take at least a few months, you will periodically receive postal mail, emails, and even a phone call. These can come at unpredictable times, so only list the contact information that you will check. In the next section, you will want to check off the real box for real estate property tax appeals. The property ID number is your county's unique identifier for your parcel or property. This is very important to get right, and it's listed on your annual assessment form. Now, if you happen to be dyslexic, you will want somebody to double check this entry for you. You could have your appeal entirely disregarded if the tax assessor's office cannot properly identify which property your appeal form is for. In the property description field, I generally write the street address of the property being appealed to further support identifying the correct parcel or property. In the account number field, I consider this an optional field. I will write it in if it's provided on the assessment form. Otherwise, I leave it blank. To me, it's generally not a big deal if you don't have it. Under grounds for appeal, I generally recommend checking two boxes, value and uniformity. Most people are contesting the value in their appeal, but I have recently recommended people check off the uniformity box on the chance it becomes an issue later in the appeal process. You want to preserve your right to make the argument if it is appropriate to your appeal. For most owners of single-family homes, you want to select the BOE option, the Board of Equalization. That's the free option. Under owner's value assertion, this is the dollar value you believe that your property should be assessed at. However, I can tell you from personal experience that I almost always get this number wrong and put too high a number in my effort to be fair, only to later regret it. I would pull sales comps, do research, inspect the property, and later realize I hurt my own efforts by writing a number that was too high. So don't make the same mistake as I did. Later in the appeal process, you will have the opportunity to negotiate a settlement value. If your number is too high to start with, you cannot later change your mind to a lower number. So you have to watch out for that. If you are under the gun, like most people are, in trying to get your appeal form in before the deadline, do yourself a favor and write in a lower number than a higher number. You can always agree to a higher number later, but you cannot go lower. Under the property owner comments, you can clearly see there are only 2 lines to write comments. In every appeal I have ever filed, I have always had to include a separate page to address issues and factors that I wanted to bring attention to. Those 2 lines are never enough. Generally, I will highlight the most significant factors affecting the value from the highest impact to the lowest impact. I enter the comment section by including a phrase, "See attached page for more info," or "More information forthcoming." I always include additional evidence with the appeal form, or I will submit it after I send in the appeal form. Under property class, you will select the residential box for any appeal of single-family homes. Now, you should know that if you own residential properties with more than 3 units, such as a quadruplex, it will automatically be classified as a commercial appeal, no matter what you select. The next thing you absolutely want to remember is to sign the appeal form. Sign with a blue ink pen. Some employees are very insistent on verifying original signatures on the appeal form. The best way to show an original signature is to hand sign with any other ink color than a black pen. Like I said, I prefer a blue pen. Under the last section in the agent information section, this is for people who want assistance with their appeal. The agent section does not mean real estate agent, insurance agent, or anything like that. Agent in the context of this appeal form is someone whom you designate and give authorization to receive information on the appeal, receive postal mail, phone calls, or emails relating to the tax appeal. You should know that in some Georgia counties, both the property owner and agent will receive postal mail notices. I like that. However, in other Georgia counties, only the appeal agent receives postal mail notices. I learned this one the hard way, which is why I'm much more reluctant to be someone's appeal agent than years past. Whoever you list as your appeal agent has to be trusted to receive the postal mail notices and respond to them appropriately, or at the very least deliver communications and notices to you as the property owner. As I stated earlier, this video is meant to explain how to quickly fill out the PT-311-A appeal form in a bare-bone manner to preserve your appeal rights. Because if you don't get this appeal form filled out and delivered on time, your appeal is dead for the current year. The deadline date will be printed on your annual assessment form. It can be very costly to miss the appeal deadline. When you complete filling out the appeal form and sign it, I recommend you hand deliver or mail it in at least 7 days before the 45-day deadline to give yourself some additional cushion. You should hand sign a second copy for your own records in case you need a backup copy. Providing evidence and supporting documents and going through the entire appeal process to get your tax freeze requires more homework on your part. If it's possible, the more supporting evidence you provide up front, the easier it will be for you later. But if you are in a time crunch, like a lot of people are, get that one-page appeal form sent in and confirm receipt by calling the tax assessor's office. You will ultimately need to look up and review sales comps, do a property inspection, make notes of damages, defects, and deferred maintenance issues. You will also need to take good photos as part of your evidence and supporting document submission. You do all these and other things to prepare for a settlement negotiation or the Board of Equalization hearing later on in the appeal process. My cat Jaggy wants me to remind you to pick up a copy of my latest book, Tax Freeze: How to File and Win Property Tax Appeals in Georgia. It will help you prepare for the next steps of what to expect after you send in your appeal form. Now that you understand how to quickly fill out your Georgia tax appeal form, you should watch this next video to get a better understanding of how to get your property tax freeze in Georgia. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next video.